Why is perfectionism a problem? It's gotten a really bad rap. It's described as things like shoulds, I should be able to do it all, I've got to get this done, I can't make mistakes. It's been described as analysis paralysis, which leads to procrastination. Maybe as a leader or driven professional, you struggle with perfectionism. Maybe it's delayed you launching your website, writing a book, putting a coursework together, because it just isn't perfect. And if it's not perfect, you're not launching it. As a recovering perfectionist, I know that this is a challenge. And so I want to talk a little bit more about how perfectionism has shifted over the years. For a long time, it was black and white, horrible. Didn't want to be a perfectionist, was not something to celebrate, until we had people like Steve Jobs come onto the scene. Steve Jobs was described as a perfectionist. In fact, it made him kind of hard to work for at times, according to people who reported this after the fact. As he got more and more comfortable with himself, Steve Jobs became better to work for. He became more approachable, he embraced vulnerability, he was inspiring and innovative, and people wanted to work for him. Perfectionism as a standalone thing doesn't sound very good, and yet we're seeing more and more perfectionists in the workplace. We're seeing people embrace that edge of themselves, which is perfectionism. Can you relate? I'm a recovering perfectionist. I know it's not easy to launch new things, and yet sometimes it's the excitement of just putting it out there and seeing what happens. Can that be the reframe that helps you explore the benefits of perfectionism without letting it drive that bus? So with this in mind, analysis paralysis is the biggest challenge. Maybe we're not putting things out, we're not producing things, we're taking way longer than we'd like because we're stuck in the what ifs. What if it's not good enough? What if I'm not good enough? Analysis paralysis. It's not a pleasant feeling. What I appreciate about this is having it be changed, right? Now we're looking at perfectioners, which is a term I coined for people who are driven perfectionists, who are making it work for them. How are they channeling that perfectionism to create valuable things, not allowing analysis paralysis to be the first characteristic, but maybe one lower on the list? Maybe it's about quieting the inner critic, using our creativity, going lean on lists, just some things I have driven professionals working on. With this in mind, I want to reference Tim Urban's TED Talk on procrastination. Have you watched it? He would say that every single person is a procrastinator. Now, as a type A driven professional myself, I was like, I need to watch this because I don't self-identify as a procrastinator. But something he emphasizes in his TED Talk is that if we don't have a deadline, we are procrastinating. If we say in our future, we want to do this one thing, we want to buy a mountain house, we want to build a business of our own, we want to start a nonprofit, but we don't have a deadline, we become a procrastinator. It's a very interesting way to look at this of like, not all procrastination is bad. It's really about redefining it to have accountability, even if it's for ourselves. It's probably why employers have asked, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Because sometimes we have to think that far ahead to have a plan. So perfectionism and procrastination aren't all bad. They might be the tools that help generate some energy towards your goals. Maybe the procrastination, now that we know that everyone could technically be considered a procrastinator, maybe now we're embracing that, saying, you know what, I'm gonna set some deadlines. I'm gonna create a vision board. I'm gonna have an accountability buddy who helps me say, I'm launching that website at the end of the month. I'm creating that coursework. I'm writing that book, or at least outlining it to get started. So perfectionism isn't all bad. Procrastination can be redefined. I hope this helps you when you embrace your edges as a driven professional or as a driven leader.